Saturday, September 23rd, 1989. An Army Ranger who had just purchased a home on one of Tacoma, Washington's most gang-infested streets quickly became a witness to various illegal activity happening out front of his home, notifying the authorities, and after shaking up the hornet's nest one too many times, his home was ambushed by the Hilltop Crips gang, but not before he invited 15 of his Ranger buddies over for a barbecue. 100 rounds, and 10 minutes later, the Crips were fighting for their lives.
What it is, what it do, it's your boy JC Reviews back with another video. Listen, today we got a special video. Before we get into that video, I do want to give a quick shout out to all the returning subscribers. Y'all already know what time it is, boy. We have 510 subscribers. Without y'all, this channel would not be where it's at today. So I do want to give a shout out to all the brand new people that's just showing up to the channel. Hopefully y'all see something y'all like, y'all decide to stick around, and become a part of the family.
Without further ado,
let's jump straight into the video. Army Rangers smoked some Crips in 1989. What? Army Rangers smoked some Crips in 1989. What the hell? How come I've never heard of that? Shout out to the page, Popo Medic. I'm doing a reaction to a video on his channel, so without further ado, let's get straight into the content, y'all. Let's go.
Look at me, I'm on. Look at me, I'm on.
Saturday, September 23rd, 1989. An Army Ranger who had just purchased a home on one of Tacoma, Washington's most gang-infested streets quickly became a witness to various illegal activity happening out front of his home. He wasn't shy of confronting it or notifying the authorities, and soon after, he became the target of one of the most notorious street.
As he should. Report it. See something, say something. See something, say something. Good job. And that's 1989. That's the year I was born, by the way.
Washington State has ever seen. And after shaking up the hornet's nest one too many times, his home was ambushed by the Hilltop Crips gang, but not before he invited 15 of his Ranger buddies over for a barbecue. 300 rounds, and 10 minutes later, the Crips were fighting for their lives.
What? What? The Crips were fighting for that? Exactly. Y'all don't know, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, cool it, bro. This gangsta activity shit is just not cool, bro. They think they're the pinnacle of the world, bro. Nobody's afraid of y'all. You run into some military dudes, they're gonna smoke your stupid asses.
In 1989, the neighborhood of Ash Street in Tacoma, Washington was an open-air drug market. There were several hotspots, and almost every house on the block was an active and thriving trap house. These gang infestations in the 1980s, born from the crack epidemic, flooded the streets and created an economic downturn that defined the decade. You might remember President Ronald Reagan declaring the war on drugs, or his first lady who was just like, just say no, oh my God. That was this time. Tacoma was Washington State's ground zero of gang activity, and by the summer of 1989, it had grown blatant. Middle of the day type shit, like selling crack to the ice cream man type shit. And this was all fueled by an influx of gang members moving in from California. Tacoma police had experienced nothing like it before and were really struggling to get it under control.
Yo, this story, just hearing this is crazy to me, because me and Sarabi just moved out of Tacoma. Obviously, you know, we're in the military, we're veterans ourselves. We lived there, we had an apartment there. It was nothing like this, bro. And even if somebody was selling cocaine or something like that, I've never seen a drug deal go down like I've seen in Brooklyn on certain blocks. I'm gonna tell on y'all.
How to respond to it. Ash Street neighbors consistently called police and called 911 repeatedly and got nowhere. The typical response from police at the time was very mild. Community-oriented policing was a new thing, such as taking bullshit calls and pretending like it's not bullshit.
Yes, ma'am. I know you can't sleep when the dogs are barking.
But community policing was still viewed with suspicion by veteran cops who came up in the 60s and preferred the old ways, like smacking people in the head with their portable radios. At the time, Tacoma Police Chief Ray Fatelin pushed these new community policing programs so far that the Hilltop Crip gang rose to power.
when the OGs from Westwood like HT7, moving out of the streets 200 deep, and the farm things had a shit with cats from Ash. When the Ash used to
That shit is terrible. That shit is terrible. He's a terrible rapper. He's a gangster. He's a thug. It sounds bad. do something about it.
Had a shootout and saved out from jail.
Staff Sergeant William Foulk of the 2nd Ranger Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, purchased his home on Ash Street in hopes that the neighborhood would soon turn around. To protect that investment, he was determined to help push the drugs and gangs out by any means necessary, which may seem crazy to most people, but Staff Sergeant Foulk was not most people. He was an elite operator who at a moment's notice could hit hard and smash fucking everything. You know, Ranger shit. But violence was the last thing the Staff Sergeant wanted, and he remained optimistic. In the summer of 1989, Foulk returned from a December deployment in Panama to find the neighborhood worse than when he left. Along with other neighbors who were honest, hardworking people, he formed a neighborhood group that pressed police, demanding action. The neighbors started making signs, protesting, and taking pictures of the drug dealers. Even as the tension on Ash Street rose, Chief Maitland made a decision he would later regret. Hamstrung by budget constraints and desperately short on the patrol side, he shifted 4 of 6 officers away from the Hilltop Crime Management Team to launch a community policing pilot project. The neighbors on Ash Street reacted with dismay. Under fire from citizens and the city council, a local Tribune covered the controversy, noting efforts by Ash Street neighbors to monitor the drug activity themselves. After the News Tribune piece, drug traffic on Ash Street slowed, but only so much. Staff Sergeant Foulk was used to seeing more than 100 cars pass through his block on any given day, and after the story appeared, it was down to 20 cars. Foulk decided to install a video camera in his upstairs window to record the traffic. He organized a neighborhood barbecue as a show of public unity, set for 3 p.m. Saturday, September 23rd. He invited neighbors, friends, Ranger buddies, and thought nothing more of it. The day of the barbecue, a group of Hilltop Crip gangbangers acknowledged Foulk outside of his residence and gave him the gun finger. It came from a car full of Crips. Driving by his house, the index finger pointed, thumb up, a little flip of the hand, and the mouth words, boom, boom.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I promise you I don't want to do that, but based on the title alone, they learned their lesson and they figured that out. Stop playing with people, bro.
The gangsters saw the video camera on Foulk's house, and a few hours later they returned and threw rocks at it. Someone else took shots at the house and the video camera with a BB gun. Foulk and a few Ranger buddies then walked across the street to confront the out-of-shape, chain-smoking gangbangers who think they're hard. Foulk told them to stop throwing things at his home and the neighbors' homes, to stop shooting BBs, and to instead turn their lives around and find better ways. The gangbangers warned him to take the camera out of his window. The gangbangers suggested the staff sergeant didn't know who he was dealing with. The staff sergeant suggested the gangbangers didn't know who they were dealing with.
Straight up.
They then told him, "Your history, bitch," and told him they were going to burn his house down and light him up as soon as the sun goes down. Foulk decided to walk away, and before he returned to his home, he overheard one of the Crips stating, "I'm going to shoot that army son of a bitch." Foulk then walked inside his house. He picked up his telephone, called some more of his Ranger buddies from the 2nd Ranger Battalion, and invited them over for a barbecue, suggesting it wouldn't hurt if they came armed. With translation, bring your own bullets. Hey guys, let's have a barbecue.
Bring your own bottle.
Oh, yeah. What are we gonna smoke? Just some Crips. Including the few Rangers who were already at the barbecue and the Rangers called, the total of Rangers grew to 15. Foulk told them to bring personal weapons and whatever else they had. They came armed to the teeth with handguns, shotguns, and rifles. Foulk was armed with a Browning 9mm and a Colt Python 357 Magnum. Fucking Magnum. Who's the gangster now, bitch? Over a couple beers, Foulk pitched to his buddies a defensive operation of his home. Stake out locations and wait. No first moves. If police come, disarm immediately, cooperate, and assist. And all of his buddies joyfully agreed and were fucking down. They thought maybe nothing will happen, but if it does, zero tolerance for dudes shooting gats and smoking Swisher Sweets. As the sun went down, the Rangers dispersed into their defensive positions, alert and observant of any and all activity inside and outside the perimeter of the house. A few hours had passed as the Rangers held their positions. One Ranger observed a vehicle approaching in the distance at a slow rate of speed, at which point the vehicle shut off its headlights. Foulk, with his Magnum in hand, returned the favor and turned out the lights in his house and in the yard. At 9:20 p.m., as the vehicle approached, someone within the vehicle fired a shot into the yard. The house was now taking fire from the rear, where according to police reports, small caliber automatic gunfire was heard. The Rangers opened a shit ton of fire, but so did the Hilltop Crips. One of the Rangers, William Edwards, was posted on the front porch. When the shooting started, he hit the ground as a bullet slammed into the wall beside him. He and other Rangers returned fire, seeing figures running amongst parked cars on the other side of the street. Ranger Russell Nolte, posted in the backyard, crawled forward as a shot hit the back of the house 3 feet over his head. Ranger Burr Settles was posted upstairs by the infamous controversial fucking video camera as a shot came through the window. The bullet grazed his head and he received multiple lacerations on his face from the shattered glass. Numerous muzzle flashes were now seen from the east. There were at least 16 shooters in 3 different locations. The Rangers again returned fire, while outside the assailants took cover amongst the parked cars, shooting over their shoulders, ducking down, shooting blindly. You know, stupid shit like that, like gangsters do. At this time, a neighbor taking cover on her kitchen floor dialed 911. And just like the famous Wild West shootout at the OK Corral, it was over in minutes. 10 minutes, to be exact. The first police car came down the middle of the street, cherries and berries on, with his siren blaring. The Rangers dropped their weapons, but as that first patrol car arrived on scene, one of the Hilltop Crip gang members popped a round off, sending the patrol car reversing out of the scene so quickly, smoke was seen coming from the rear tires. Officers in the car reported hearing 50 to 60 shots in less than 1 minute. Shortly after, more cops pulled into the block, and the gangbangers ran.
Yo, imagine making ops with Rangers, bro. But I ain't gonna lie, they held their own that first time. They held their own, even though they were shooting blindly. They held their own. What are you doing? What is this? What is this, fat boy?
The unarmed staff sergeant walked out the back door to his driveway and the alley behind his house. He felt someone behind and didn't fight. A hand shoved his head down and a voice ordered him to the ground. One gang member by the name of Frankie Strickland was cornered by a police canine and found to be in possession of 16 rounds of 9mm. He said he was holding them for a friend but couldn't remember the friend's name. You know, like a fucking liar. He also said the same thing about the pistol he was carrying. It was for a friend. Another suspect was carrying copper-headed rounds for a gas gun. Once the situation was under control and the officers learned about the Rangers' defensive operation, the responding sergeant of the Tacoma Police Department wasn't too happy about it. He lectured Foulk and the other Rangers for not calling the police for assistance until shots were fired, and felt that the situation may have been avoided by calling 911 prior to the shooting getting started. Out of what was quite possibly a 35-man gunfight with over 300 rounds shot in the dark, no one was reported to be killed or injured. For 20 years, the official version of the shootout held that miraculously no one was hurt, but there are rumors injured gang members did not seek medical attention for obvious reasons, and some may have even been mortally wounded. And according to Foulk himself, during the firefight, one gang member rushed towards Foulk's house. I guess he thought he was gonna John Wayne it, Foulk remembered. One of the Rangers took aim and hit the gangster in the shoulder. The attacker staggered back and ran away. The moment goes unmentioned in police reports and witness accounts of the time. Unverified.
Yeah, because we're not allowed. We're not allowed as long as we're active duty, we're not allowed to harm anybody. We're not allowed to harm civilians, bro. That shit sucks, bro, because you see situations like this that clearly wrong. I mean, obviously self-defense, but we're not allowed to set up like fucking full-fledged operations, I mean, against civilians in the United States of America, whether they're drug dealers, gangbangers, or not. They definitely got what they deserve, though, but they made it seem like they smoked them, like they destroyed them or something. It was a shootout. Seemed like a pretty normal shootout to me.
That the wounded man was treated at a Seattle area hospital, over an hour away from Tacoma. Doug Sutherland, who was mayor at the time, pondered a declaration to their department. Then Governor Booth Gardner even considered sending in the National Guard to Ash Street. The Hilltop Crip gang member who was arrested and found in possession of the 9mm and the pistol, Frankie Strickland, was the only man charged in connection with the shootout. He was convicted of second-degree assault and was later sentenced to 22 months in prison.
Bro, that's
the military officially considered the incident a matter of self-defense for the off-duty Rangers. On February 9th, 2010, Tacoma police and FBI launched a major crackdown on the Hilltop Crip gang and charged 32 members with up to 50 crimes, everything from theft to attempted murder. Back, a Tacoma police officer said something about the shootout. He said it was the single most important incident in Tacoma that caused a change in police policies and practices. Staff Sergeant William Foulk never moved away from Ash Street, and as he predicted, he was never promoted and left the Army in 1993.
Of course.
He still owns the property to this day. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video...
They barred him from enlistment. Holy fuck. Yeah, the Army, see, it sounds good, it sounds glorious and everything like that. He had a fire shootout. He got a story to tell, but it was at the cost of his career, bro. Like, he had to fucking retire. Like, not immediately, but he was definitely barred from enlistment. He was barred from anything, but he couldn't get promoted anymore. He was career E6 from that point. So, was it worth it? Did you make changes in the area you live in your neighborhood? Yeah. Did you get to shoot a few thugs? Yeah. Did you shoot a few gang members? Yeah. But was it worth your career? Y'all decide that. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty fire. Like, it's not every day you get to just pop a gang member and get away with that shit. Like, the military, in the public eye, the military held them down. They say, yo, we're gonna go with self-defense, but they definitely spanked that ass, bro. Like, behind closed doors, like behind the scenes, they spanked that ass, bro. But anyway, that's the end of the video, man. Let me know what you guys think about this video. What's y'all take on this situation? What the fuck would y'all have done in this situation if you was on the Crip side or even if you was on the military side? What would you have done? Would it have gotten this far with y'all? I know it probably wouldn't have gotten this far with me. I probably would just called 911 and told on all of those people. I would have told on all of y'all thugs. Yeah, so, yeah. Let me know in the comments, man. Besides that, like, comment, subscribe, man. Shout out to my cousin Fleezes. He just hit 400 subscribers yesterday, so we're gonna throw some things on there for him too. Yeah, that's it. JSQ Reviews. I'm out of here. See you on the next one.
Look at me, I'm on. 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 Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Look at me, I'm on.